So can you touch on relationships and what actually makes a good relationship?
Well, relationships, the way I see it, are again, they're mirrors and they're teachers and they're reflecting back what it is that we're experiencing within ourselves. We're in relationship, even if we're not in the classic terms of a relationship in an intimate partnership, we're in relationship with life. And when we understand that, when we're in relationship with life, everything that we experience is mirroring back what we're experiencing internally. And so, where people get caught up within the relational realm, and I have a lot of experience in this realm, so I can talk for days on, how relationships have been initiations and catalysts in my own life. You know, Oftentimes we take this perspective. I'm going to speak from the classical relationship sense, right? Being in a partnership.
Yep.
The story we've been sold is that relationships are here to complete us, that they are here to fulfill us, that they are here to meet every one of our needs. The Disney fairy tale, all of the different stories and depictions of relationships we've seen are actually very codependent, very toxic, and false. And I've learned this the hard way through my own sort of fantasies that I've lived out in my own head about how relationships should look. But the cold, hard truth is that number one, there are no others. That is an illusion. It's just that we live in a third dimensional reality where there's a perception of others. It's really just all one. So that's the basis of this. When we understand that, then we're saying we're relating with different versions of ourselves, essentially. And by relating with different versions of ourselves, we learn more about ourselves. We evolve, right? And this relationship, whether it's to someone, whether it's to our child, whether it's to our business, whether it's to our family, whether it's to life, doesn't matter what it is. They're all here to take us out of that place of codependence and place us back into our seat of our power, which is this whole, complete, joyful, alive individual having this human experience, the spiritual being having this human experience. And from this sovereign place of relating, we no longer look to others to fill us up with what we perceive to be lacking. When we are in need of something from somebody else, we are saying that we are in lack, that we don't have that ourselves, that I need this person to reflect back this love and all of these things. You're always going to receive a reflection, whether that's a reflection of your shadow or a reflection of your gifts. There's always a reflection happening. Now, two empowered, whole, sovereign beings in a relationship are extremely powerful. We don't have many examples of this, but these conscious beings walking this path together, they're walking side by side, and they're not walking again as this way of saying, hey, you do this for me or else, or whatever the story is, but it's I know who I am and I'm serving the altar of love at its highest, not the romantic sense of love, but love, the eternal essence of this universe of us. And I'm continuously following my dharma, my soul's path, and growing alongside you. That's a powerful position to be because now I no longer need this person to do this for me to make me happy. I'm already whole as I am, and we are walking together in a very empowered way. And that, from that standpoint, all of the patterns, sure, there's still shadows that come up. We're still in this human experience. We have the inner child that acts out from time to time. We have these certain trauma patterns that might arise. But with two conscious beings, the difference is that we face it, we communicate it, we talk about it, and we allow ourselves to go into the healing of that, which only transforms and elevates the relationship itself. From a lower density level, from a lower consciousness level, from a lower awareness level, those shadows that come up often destroy the relationship and they start to dismantle it because there's two hurt little boys and girls that are acting out against each other because they don't know any other way because they're acting from their emotional wounds rather from this empowered place. And so relate I say this all the time. I said if you want to grow, if you want to evolve, if you want to expand, do these three things. Be in a conscious relationship, like in an intimate partnership, have a child and start a business. If you really want to grow in this earth school, do those three things and I can promise you you're going to be catapulted, but not without challenge.
I'm working on the third one. Um, so what I'm taking from that, so if I get into a relationship and I don't necessarily love myself so much to a point, or I'm missing some sort of love for myself, I'm going to try and get that from my partner, and that's going to create the issues.
Precisely. Yeah, because we're trying to get something. We're trying to take
Mm,
something from the relationship. That's that think about that energy, it's extraction. It's like I need
mm,
this from this person versus I know who I am. Doesn't mean that there's still not insecurity or some inadequacy that's playing out. Sure. But the deeper I go into myself, the more I find that love for who I truly am.
mm. Yeah, and that's going to be draining on the partner, and of course it's not going to
Exactly.
work out. So let's just say somebody is in a relationship, they just had a light bulb moment, and they're like, oh, I am missing something in myself, and I'm trying to get it from my partner, and it's creating these issues. Where do we go from there?
I think the first and most important step is the awareness, which you just shared. And once you have the awareness, it's the communication, and the vulnerable, intimate communication that has to happen within a partnership, which is key ingredient to an evolving and a relationship that will grow and expand, is recognizing it and then communicating that to your partner. I've been in this state and I realize that there's this part of me that is trying to extract and take from you. And that no longer feels good. And, just that conversation alone could be extremely healing, but it will probably most likely take you into the deeper parts of yourself where as that little boy or that little girl didn't receive the love that you desired as a kid, right? Because at the end of the day, our core desires is to belong, be accepted, and to be loved. And of course, we have parents that are doing their best, but still acting from their own trauma, which then, brings us to a place where we feel inadequate, we feel insecure, we feel unlovable, unworthy, whatever the story it is we're telling ourselves. And then we go through lives and date people to try to mirror that back to us. But when you get to this place, what you're speaking to, now it's like, okay, now that I recognize it, I've communicated it. Now I can go back and bring and reparent that little boy or that little girl that's always existed within me. And through that reparenting of, how I work with clients through this would just be like, what makes you feel joyful, wondrous, and fulfilled? That could be going outside and, climbing a tree or going for a hike or being out in nature, whatever it is, playing an instrument, starting to give that back to that part of yourself. And through that, you start to develop this deeper relationship with that little boy, that little girl, that inner child. And then through the safety of that container of that being within you feeling more loved and fulfilled, then through the relationship, you're no longer trying to fill yourself up. But of course, this is a transformational alchemical process that requires two beings to be very mindful and conscious of.
Yeah, not easy thing to do. And I've noticed that you just said like we we've just conditioned to restrict things from ourselves, like when we're a child, like what do you want to do? You go want to go out and climb the tree, all that sort of stuff. And we try to get out of relationship business. And I've even found, and I'm guilty of this as well, using purpose to cover that up, as like chasing a
Mm.
purpose, thinking that like business, whatever it is, trying to cover that up as well. So it can come out in many different ways. You
I
said
agree.
you said the third thing was having children. Can you
Mm.
touch on that and why that's important?
Again, this is not a part of everybody's path. I don't believe it to be, and I don't believe everybody is fit to have a child, and I don't think it's necessary. But again, speaking from my path and my experience, these are the three catalysts in my life that have been most important. So I'm just wanted to share that and preface what I'm about to say. But, being a father, I have a 6-year-old boy and a boy that also requires a lot of special needs in some ways and extremely gifted, extremely talented, but it's been quite a challenge. And of course, I had a soul contract with, him and we have a beautiful relationship. But yeah, I mean, when you're parenting, and you're in that position of being a parent, father, mother, whatever it is, you're relating to your own inner child very directly because the children are mirroring that back to you in every and all moments. I couldn't, the number of times that my son has mirrored things back to me. I'll give you an example. It'll be like, um, I don't know, just there's so many things. Here's one. When I was, there's been many times where, I get into my head or I'm moving fast, right? I'm doing a lot of fast actions. I'm moving from one place to the next. I'm driving fast. I'm doing whatever. My son will just tell me straight, he's like, "Why are you going so fast? There's no rush. Slow down." And it's like, oh, yeah, you're right. I don't need to be moving this fast. So just like that's a very small example. But
Mm.
even the things that he doesn't say, are, very powerful. It's just an ultimate mirror for like healing your inner child and your relationship to the boy within myself is like, damn, like this is not for the faint of heart. But when we're not living from an aware place, parenting often can be this ground in which we're just continuing to repeat the same trauma when really the intention is I don't own this child. He is not, I'm here to steward him. I'm here to help him find his own way and his own gifts and allow him to be his own authentic self in person. That's my job as a parent and to keep him safe. Like that's right now in these formative years, that's it, but we try to project all of our stuff onto our children, and therefore then we stay stuck in the same repeating patterns, and we're parenting from a place of behavior like this kid. It's like these kids are so fucking powerful, and if we were just to listen and actually like take our ego out of the equation for a moment, we would realize so many things about ourselves, and like everything would begin to change. Is there moments where I'm not my best? For sure, like there's still times, but for the most part, this journey it's a powerful one.
Without going into too much detail, I went through a breakup 12 months ago. It made me rethink a lot of things that I thought about myself, relationships, all that sort of stuff. And then going through the dating world and navigating that again. Children, like at my age as well. So obviously I'm in an age pool, like mid to late 30s. Children are like it's a big topic, especially when you're dating for the females as well, because
Yep.
unfortunately there's a timeline. And I find that a lot of people are confused on this. I guess it just comes back to that projection and they've got to do a bit of work on themselves. And it scares me because obviously population decline, all that sort of stuff. It's a topic I'm interested in. It's a strange one. And I find most, again, it could just be the circles I'm around, but most of the guys want children, but the females don't. And it's just this
Mm,
weird dynamic of, you know, why not? Like, again, like what you just described, just, I don't know, really resonates with me. But then with the females that I've met and again, been introduced to, some of them just have no interest in that, but they're very passionate. I just don't know if it's, again, a thing that they think they shouldn't have because society or they don't want. Just a,
mm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't, again, I'm not sort of in that position in my life anymore, in the sense of like, I'm in a place where I have a child and, it is what it is. But what I feel here and what you're sharing is this, right? Is that so you have these reflections coming back to you where you see this experience where the females are not desiring kids and the males are desiring kids and all of that. And so, if your true innate desire is to have a child, you can magnetize that into your life. And from the place of asking your soul, is this in my soul contract to bring a child into the world? And right now, what's being mirrored back is this sort of perhaps unconscious, because 95% of our reality is lived in the unconscious, subconscious terrains where the fear and all of that is driving our human experience. And so perhaps, and I'm not saying this is true, but perhaps there's an innate undercurrent of fear of what going into this would be like. So you're having this experience mirrored back to you. But speaking from that place of the soul, if this is in true alignment with my soul, then commanding your reality to make way for that person to come in and be that queen, be that mother to your future child. And you get to choose that.
Mm. That's my hard part at the moment. I just don't know. Again, I don't know what's, I guess, I had this thought the other day, like what is desire and what is
Ah.
just my path or my want or that guiding spirit. Like, yeah. So a
Well,
lot
to
to
take it
think.
further, you can also communicate, and I did this. You can communicate with your future child and ask even before bed. Start to ask that spirit to show itself and reveal itself if you're meant to have a child in this lifetime. And I can guarantee you, by doing that multiple nights in a row, you'll receive information. I did, and I mean I have a whole crazy birth story, and that's a whole nother topic, but you can very much be in that communication because you're just communicating with, spirit.
Hmm. I've heard that before, so I do need to try that. Start doing that. What is up, everybody? If you are vibing with this content and you want to start implementing it into your day-to-day life to find your true form, but you're not sure how, don't stress. I have got you covered. I have created a cheat sheet from over 270 podcast episodes. 9 things that just keep recurring, episode after episode, guest after guest. These 9 things are going to have a massive impact on your overall health and wellness and just well-being as well. Each thing I give you, let you know why it's important, break it all down, but most importantly, I let you know how to implement it into your day-to-day life. Information's great, but unless you know how to use it, then it's kind of useless. And it's all in there. It is 100% free. All I want you to do is just implement, find your true form, and start living a long, healthy, happy life. Check it out in the show notes.